The first of the sub-processes for accounting is extremely important because without it done properly, you won't have a good handle on the financials for each job. I'm Jessica Krause with New Life Accounting, and this is Build What Lasts. So we've talked about core processes and what they could be. One of those was accounting. Then we talked about 7 possible sub-processes of accounting. And the first one of those is the job startup process. So to start putting your processes together, we have developed several questions that you can ask yourself and your team to get you started. As I go through the questions, I will also give you some examples of how it could be done. So your company is different than any other company. So while we all have similar situations, our actual processes may vary a little due to company size and software, core values, clients, and so on. So getting started with the first sub-process of accounting, the job startup, I would ask, who is setting up your jobs in the accounting system? Do you use job numbers? If so, what is that numbering system? So some people have maybe the year and then a code for which PM is it assigned to, and then a sequence number. Some may have a year and then a division code and then a sequence number. Some may just have a sequence number. So what does that numbering system look like to you? And then evaluating, is that the best choice or best way to use these numbers? Is there a job folder created? So at this stage, or at what stage is it created, and who is responsible for this? I'm hoping by now many of you are keeping job folders electronically and not in paper format in a filing cabinet. So if you still have that, I hope you also have an electronic job folder. The next question, number 4, do you have a job setup form that goes from the PM to accounting? What all is included on that form? So if you don't have a form, or if you do, you can kind of compare. These are some things that should be on that form. A job name, a job number, a tax exempt status, insurance doc status, if it is an OSIP or CSIP project, if there's prevailing wage, customer information, billing address and or platform that they use. So some companies are going to have you log into a certain platform to issue your billings. Job address, which is probably different than the billing address, tax codes, and other notes about the job. And then number 5, once the project is awarded and the estimate is turned into a budget, how does that budget get from the estimator or PM to the accounting software? So some will have something that syncs straight from the estimating software into their accounting software. Some, they have an all-inclusive package, so it's already there. Some will export it out to an Excel doc and then import it in, or some will just send over an Excel and someone will key it in manually on the accounting side. So however it is for you, that's why these processes are so different per company, but understanding what that process is and that it's consistent across the board. Are we using cost codes and phases, and how are those assigned? So we want to be consistent with how we're recording costs and only collect data that we're actually going to use. So if you aren't going back or you're not watching all the phases as they're going throughout the job and you're not going back and comparing the costs on the phases, if your guys in the field aren't tracking time and materials and everything, the cost to those phases, then that's irrelevant. And you should stop tracking that because you're not actually able to use the data. So we want to make sure that we are only recording the costs and only collecting the data that we're actually going to use. So gave you a lot of information for your first sub-phase of accounting, the job setup folder or job setup process. Now, there is going to be a different job setup process in the other side of your business. So this is just the items that are touching accounting. Content is worthless without action. So your action items, set aside 30 minutes and ask yourself these questions. If you don't know the answers, then bring in your team. Get everyone together in one room and go through these questions to set up your process. You'll quickly see what you need to clean up and improve. If you would like help walking through these processes for your business, please set up a time to chat. There's a link in the email, and we'll give you an hour of our time to see how we can best help your construction business. I know your time is extremely valuable. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Jessica Krause with New Life Accounting, and we're here to help you build what lasts.